Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today's video is another episode of Chatting in My Closet. So here we are. And the topic of discussion today is VIP clients, how to become one, things like that. Ever since I was so lucky to get a few holiday gifts from like Chanel and Vuitton last year, I had been getting a lot of questions on how to become a VIP client or how to get those VIP gifts. Every month I do a poll on my community page on what topic you would want me to discuss next, and this was overwhelmingly the winner of that poll. So that's what I'm going to chat about. But of course, like always, the Chatting in My Closet series is meant to be an open dialogue, an open conversation. So I would love to hear your experience, your insight, your knowledge on this topic in the comment section down below. So definitely let me know what you know and what, like, any nugget of information, because knowledge is power, and that would definitely help everybody else who's tuning in as well. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I love to do luxury fashion related videos here on YouTube. Today's video in particular is a ongoing monthly series where we are able to just chat about all things fashion pretty much. So if you like what you're seeing, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts. So I'll link the actual videos that I'm referencing where I shared the VIP gifts that I received as part of holiday 2020. There were a few, I think there were a few different videos that showed different snippets. So I'll leave them all linked down below. I'll probably link some up above as well. I also want to share that I'll be sharing my personal experience, and this is based off of what I know and what I've experienced. I don't know, like, I don't work for those brands, so I don't know if there's any official criteria or anything like that. So don't use this video and be like, oh my gosh, this person said. I have no idea. This is just my experience. And the brands that I have experience with would be Chanel and Vuitton, so I can share a little bit more about that. But for the most part, it is like I have like a pretty similar approach across all the different brands. But I did want to emphasize that this is my experience. I'd love to hear more about your experience as well. So like always, please leave those in the comments down below. As far as I know, there's no strict criteria that kind of bumps you into the category of a VIP client. Now, of course, I'm sure if you are someone who spends a lot at that particular brand, like you come in and you buy like an entire wardrobe every season or every collection, then I'm sure you stand out for the brand. You know what I mean? I'm sure you stand out for that particular boutique. I'm sure the manager of that boutique knows who you are and all of that stuff. Like your profile will be very important because of how much money you're spending at the boutique. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there's any spending threshold to officially be considered like a VIP client. That's not what I experienced. I would say I spend a reasonable amount of money throughout the year, but it's not like I walk in and I spend like $35,000 in one sitting, right? I've seen it happen. I was in a boutique when someone else was paying for their purchases and it rang up to like $35,000, and I'm like, one day, but that one day is not today. So again, like I don't think there's any sort of official criteria. For me, what I think matters the most and what I focused on, not because I was looking to get a gift out of it or anything like that, but what I liked to do was I focused on the relationship with my particular SA and really cultivated that to be more than just I want to buy something and this is someone who can get it for me, you know. It's about, a lot of times it's about other things as well. Like if there's news about that brand, we often are following like some fashion news because we're interested. So like we'll talk about those things. When we went to Dior and we found out that Kim Jones was going to be the designer at Women's Fendi, like we brought that up with our essay and we like had a good chat about it, just wondering, we're like, hey, what do you feel about it? What do you think is gonna happen at Fendi? Like, are you excited, or you know what I mean? Or when we hear about some upcoming collections, and we'll share some of our initial thoughts based on what we see. Our essay will sometimes share some thoughts that they have because they usually get to see some version of the collection. Usually it's like a digital, you know, they'll see like the line sheet or something. So they'll share some of their thoughts about it, and like we'll have more conversation than just, oh my God, this looks really cute, like, can I buy it? And like, that's the end of the conversation. A lot of times it's more involved than that. And I think that's what helps cultivate that relationship, makes it much more than like a simple transaction, if that makes sense. Now, again, I don't go in to any place, and I don't go in a boutique like really trying to do that. A lot of times it happens naturally, but it happens naturally because I found someone that I also jive with. I've had plenty of experiences where that wasn't the case. Chanel is one of those brands for me where I struggled to find someone that I could work with on a consistent basis, until I finally did. And once I did, I really stuck with that person. And it was all about consistency for me. So it's not so much that I would buy big things all the time, but I noticed that essay also had a better read on me personally, on some elements of my style, but also was totally okay with like me saying no, because I usually like classic pieces with a twist. I usually like something that's a little bit different, but because of that, there can be some small detail that means I don't like a piece. Like, oh, the silhouette's perfect, wrong color, or, you know, the color is perfect, and I'm like, why is there this extra detail here? And I'm like, I'm not into it. Like, I get turned off by that style, and I don't want to get it anymore. So in a few interactions, I realized this essay like really could understand that and doesn't take any hard feelings from it. So I think that's what helps, because I become a real person for them too. And because of that consistency and because of those other things that we talk about, I kind of stand out in that person's mind as someone that they maybe like to work with or want to continue to work with, or if there's good news or good things happening, they would want to let you know first. So in my experience, it does not anchor on how much money you spend there necessarily, though that could be, let's say, a kind of a fast ticket way for you to stand out in someone's mind. But at the end of the day, it's much more about consistency. It's whether you consistently reach out to that same person, asking them a question. It could be something pretty simple like, oh, I just saw the runway show for this particular collection. Like, do you know when it would be coming into the stores, right? Like, it's just asking them ahead of time rather than it seeming a little bit like an afterthought, if that makes sense, right? So it lets them know that you're interested in something or that you're thinking about something. You're also proactively reaching out to them. I don't try to force a round peg in a square hole. Like, I just don't, if I don't feel like it's going to be a pleasant experience overall, I don't try to expend that energy. And I'm fine, like that at Chanel, I had purchased at different boutiques with different essays for particular items because, you know, there were still pieces that I wanted to get. So I wouldn't let that deter me from getting the things that I want. But I think now that I have an essay that I consistently work with, I think it's a lot easier for me to get pieces and to pre-order and get an understanding of when things are coming and stuff like that. It's definitely easier, and I also stand out in their mind as someone who they want to help out, right? I think it can also help to know the manager of your boutique. I had never ever tried to I never asked who the manager was. I never seeked out in particular the manager by any means. That also happened really organically with Chanel and with Vuitton. It was more, I think we were frequenting the stores a lot more. We ended up getting to know the manager. The manager would recognize us as well, and then, you know, it would turn into just like a fun kind of catch up with everybody, where we're able to talk about different things and all of that. So having the manager know who you are, I think helps. But I don't think, like, I do not recommend you walk in anywhere asking who the manager is and trying to only work with that person. Usually, I don't, like, the manager's not the one who really helps with the sales, you know what I mean? It's the sales associates that are much more empowered to do that. So if it happens, that's great. I think as you continue to purchase and perhaps visit the boutique, it becomes a lot more natural for you to be able to see them, you know, naturally, because you happen to be there at the same time. That's another, like, element of maybe a consideration for how some of that works out. What happens, especially around holiday, I mean, so here's the thing, like, on the internet, there are lots of people who are like influencers or bloggers, or they're, you know, people who, you know, just buy a lot of luxury, and you see, like, you know, they'll get birthday gifts sent to them and like holiday gifts sent to them and all of that stuff. I don't know how birthdays work because I haven't ever really gotten a birthday gift yet. Last year holiday was sort of the first time that ever really happened. My understanding, my little glimpse into it, I think what happens, and there's a big I think at the beginning of this statement, but I think what happens is each essay is allocated a certain number of kind of gifting pieces, especially around holiday, and I think it's up to the essay to allocate where those go. I'm sure each brand operates a little bit differently, but that's why I think the relationship with your essay is pretty key in that, versus it being about, like, strictly about how much you spend. I don't know if that's disappointing to anybody to hear that there might not be any specific criteria. Like I said, there's none that I know of. I don't think, you know, it's not like, oh, you spent like $2,000, like you've unlocked, you know what I mean? It's not like there's some strict tier system. I don't think there is. But I'm sure if you are someone who spends like thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, like every month or every season, like I'm sure you stand out for the boutique in general. But I for one am not somebody who does that, and which is why I don't think that's really the only criteria. But if you have ever received a VIP gift, or you know somebody who works there, or you've heard something different, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. It will definitely help everybody else out who's watching and wanting to learn more. If you have any other questions on this topic, or really anything at all, feel free to leave those down below, or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help out where I can. If you like this video and you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. Remember that on my community page, I will be putting up a poll for the next topic, so definitely participate in that poll to let me know what you want to talk about next. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion-related content every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time, bye!